So today I'm doing a slightly different video. Just that now I'm around about, over 5 months pregnant now. And when I first started, when I first found out, not only was I getting over COVID, but I had no idea where to start. I didn't know what was safe, what I should and shouldn't be doing, how I would continue to do cycling whilst I'm pregnant and things like that. So I thought what I would do is list my top 5 kind of things that I would recommend or what I've learnt. I am no way a doctor or anything, so this is just what works personally for me. I would always seek medical advice before that. I know in trimester 1 you seem to go a long time on your own before you see an actual professional, which is really daunting. So I just thought I would kind of share what I did. So my number 1 tip is listening to your body, because your body is changing and it is going to get harder. That's the biggest thing. But in trimester 1 for sure, that was, I was getting over COVID as well, so I had the double whammy, but I was super tired at the beginning, nauseous as well, obviously with morning sickness and stuff. So I would just say, listen to your body. It is changing, and I've learned so many amazing facts. When you're pregnant, you get 50% more blood volume, so that's more oxygen that you're having to supply around your body. So you are going to find that you're going to get out of breath much quicker. Not to feel down about that, you're growing a human. That's pretty impressive stuff. So just bear in mind, and don't be too hard on yourself, that if you're finding things a little bit challenging, and that goes through changes. The very beginning I was always tired, again COVID as well, but I think that was generally trimester 1. I was really super tired. I was still getting out, but I was kind of finding that I was fatigued more. Recovery wasn't as easy. Again, coming off of COVID as well, I think a little bit of combination of both. But yeah, there's also for me, we've been trying to get pregnant for a while, and I knew the risks, as in the risks are much higher at the very beginning. There's risk continue throughout pregnancy, but at the very early stages. So I kind of used that excuse that I also had COVID, that to take things quite slowly. And just went with how I felt, and then all of a sudden I kind of felt like I had more energy, and again that was just up and down as I've been going through. So yeah, I just personally didn't want to take extra risks at that time, so I just kind of wanted to keep a baseline fitness. I used obviously the turbo, just to get in some half-hour sessions before work, or I would maybe just take out the gravel bike for a little spin, just to kind of keep my legs turning, but kept things easy. I did actually do a few club rides as well at those early weeks, just because I went in the lower groups than I used to, but it was just to take it easy again. Adam was also suffering from COVID, so he was still not feeling great, which was a great kind of cover up for us, that we were just like, oh yeah, we'll just go in the lower groups. So yeah, number 1, listening to your body. Number 2, and this is the bit I've been struggling with personally, is wear kit that makes you feel good, because there is no point putting on kit that you just feel like I just keep saying to Adam, I feel like a sausage. Okay, so the one thing is, I have little spindly arms, everything else in my legs and stuff haven't changed much. Accommodating the bump is the hardest part. There is no maternity wear for cyclists, so I would recommend finding something that works for you. My thing at the moment, I need to get another pair because I am wearing them constantly. So yeah, they wash really well, and I've mentioned them before. I bought this is not obviously sponsored, I'm not big enough for that. But Cycling Appreciation Society, so that's their branding. Oh yeah, and it's got a cool rainbow effect. Woo! I love these. Love these. So they're the most comfortable shorts, and the reason I like them, especially for pregnancy, is, so I did size up. I'm usually extra small in most things, so I went for a small. But what they have, and I don't know if I can show this really well. Let me get that leg out. Okay, so on the front bib, so if I hang them up like that, there's a loop round on the front, so it's got a real dropped seam. I don't know if you can see that really clearly, but the seam kind of drops, and it kind of caters for bumps. So when I'm riding, that little bit there can expand a little bit, so they're really comfy. The other godsend of these bibs is that quick release. Now I've had quick releases before, but this one is super easy. Just comes off, quickly on, and then you're on your way. Because I found that, and sorry if this is too much information, but when you're cycling and baby's in a different position, or they can be pushing on my bladder. So I don't necessarily always need to go, but I feel I need to go. So just being able to stop quickly and quickly unbuckle, go to the toilet and come back, it's literally taking seconds with that. And it just takes that kind of, you know, especially if you're out cycling with people, you're like, you don't want to hold them up, or you don't want to take too long, and you just can't be bothered. You're like, another stop. I just like to keep riding, so these have been really good. They're also super stretchy, so I don't ever feel like, and they're not tight stretchy, they're like really stretch with your body. They're light fabric. They've also got really good leg grippers, so the legs kind of stay in place, they don't slide up and down. So I have been loving these. So I think the chamois is really good in them as well. I think I might invest in another pair. They've also got out their summer range short sleeve jerseys, because I've got the long sleeved, and again it's super covers bumps and stretchy. So I think I might invest in their like pink jersey that they've got, and see like how stretchy that is, because I love it and the colour is really nice. And sometimes it's just nice to just get something new whilst you're cycling while pregnant, just to make yourself a little bit more excited, and look forward to getting in your cycling kit rather than hating it. The other thing I kind of invested in was just a cheap jersey. Again, I sized up, but I found one, actually this is a DHB one, I think it was pretty cheap, it was in the sale, but it's one of their like cross jerseys, so it's like I think it's for like cyclocross or gravel. It's got vented strips in it, which is amazing in this heat for obviously when you're pregnant. I never really run warm, and just now that's all I am. I'm just a little radiator, an incubator. So this has done real wonders, but it's also very stretchy. I don't know if you can see the give in that. Pretty good. So the thing that I find, if I size up too big, then everything else, so around here and my sleeves, just hang off me, and then around certain bits it's just big. So I always try and find I don't size up too often, and I try and find something which does a bit of give, because then I can wear very similar sizes to what I am, but everything else fits, and then bumps accommodated for. The other thing I love is, obviously this is my Rafa Lido gilet, but the thing I think, it's not just the gilet itself, it's more the double zip factor. So when I put my little gilet on to start on colder mornings, the double zip, when you zip that up, that accommodates for bump. So bump goes in the little bit. So if you follow me on Instagram, I put a story up of like the view from looking down onto bump, just poking out the little bit at the bottom. So you don't necessarily have to get brand new kit. You can actually use what you've got, especially if it's got double zips. Highly recommend that. If as well you're getting to that point where you just don't feel like yourself, or you feel super uncomfortable, you don't always have to wear lycra. So I've got some loose sports tops that I might, when I'm out on the gravel, just put that on just to feel a little bit less restricted. But in the end, if it's going to make you go out, wear what you want, wear what you feel comfortable. And just because you usually wear lycra doesn't mean you have to wear lycra now. So yeah, feeling comfortable, big thing for me. Fuel and hydrate correctly. So obviously you're growing a human. They say that you don't actually need to eat extra calories and things for a normal pregnancy, but when you're exercising, obviously we do have to eat a lot more. And I find it's not necessarily eating a lot more, it's more regularly. So obviously taking snacks like bananas are great, they're nice and healthy, but they have carbs and sugars in them. I like medjool dates as well, they're easy stashed in your pockets. Another thing I found is that when you're obviously growing, your pockets get tighter at the back, so you can't fit as much in there. So I've been, if you've watched the recent videos, I've been using my handlebar bag and been stashing stuff in there and asking Adam maybe to take an extra banana for me or something in his pocket. But that's something I just find that if I eat more regularly on a ride than I used to, I kind of keep going a little bit longer, because I do find, although I'm getting out and I'm hitting speeds, my usual speeds, the distance, finding okay, but the very last couple of kilometres I'm feeling the fatigue, so I'm like, oh yeah. So we did an 8k ride and I was like, yeah, I feel like I've done 8k's, whereas before that would be quite, that would be alright for me. So yeah, that's something. The other thing I always used to have were electrolytes. I actually checked with my midwife if that was okay, and I looked at the ingredients of the usual ones, and they did have green tea. Again, I don't know green tea does have caffeine, so I was just erring on precaution. I'm not drinking any caffeine at the moment, so I went for these Oars hydration ones, and they're suitable for kids. So most ones that are suitable for kids are suitable for me right now because they don't have caffeine in them. But just always seek medical advice before you start taking anything. I just like these because obviously it's been really hot recently, and when you're doing longer distances as well, you should be kind of replacing those electrolytes. So yeah, I ran that by my midwife. She said that's okay for me, but please don't just go with what I'm doing, check your own. So I think just bear in mind that don't feel guilty about it, or that in fact you're going to have to eat more a little bit, or you're feeling fatigued. You are growing a little person inside of you. So and it's the same with like if you feel uncomfortable. Yeah, some people might just look at me and think, yeah, it's a fat lady on a bike, but I know myself, I'm pregnant and I'm doing a good job even being on the bike right now. So don't be hard on yourself about it. Number 4, be safe. So whatever feels safe for you, do. Like that comes with how you're feeling as well. So always talk to your doctor. I was said that I was okay, so that's fine. But if I feel like things are a bit too risky, for example, so things like I'm trying to do is wear lighter colours, brighter colours on the road. Always have my lights on at the moment just in case I need them, just for it to be seen by cars. I have joined a new club up here, and as I don't know them so much, I haven't been going out on group rides as much. I'm still going on group rides, especially with friends and things and people I've ridden with, because I feel like I know them better. I know how they ride, I know how to ride with them. Like Lucy, I used to race with, so we were on each other's wheels. Kat and Andrew came up to visit, and we went out with Lucy as well as a wee group ride, and I know them, I've ridden with them for years, so going out in a group like that, I feel a bit safer. They also know I'm pregnant, so that it's not as like, it's not a stranger riding with me who just might take a little bit more risks and things. But so it's up to you how you feel. But I've been doing rides with people I'm friendly with and know, or smaller group rides. I might also do a little bit more off-road maybe as I go. So I'm over 5 months now, but maybe at the end of hopefully I'll still be cycling, but I might seek more gravel and off-roads, just because there's a less risk of cars, obviously. There's still risk in that, but there's less risk of other traffic members, so it's less, I'm in more control of the surroundings. Solo rides, me and Adam go out all the time. Obviously I know him really well to ride with, so he might ride behind me or in front of me depending on what kind of roads we're on. We also seek out quieter roads, which up here in the Highlands is a lot easier. We've got loads of little local windy roads, which I absolutely love, so we go out on that. And the other thing that we have recently invested in, again, being on quieter roads is great, but sometimes, especially electric cars, you can't hear them coming up behind you, or if it's windy, and then you just turn around and go, oh, there's a car there. So one thing that Adam had invested in for his bike, and he normally sits in behind me or in front, and it still picks up cars, is the Garmin Varia, that one there. So actually we had seen this before, never really thought much of it, or just kind of thought, oh well, I don't know, but being in a city it would probably go off all the time. So once we've moved up here, Adam got it, and it was a little bit of an investment, but I have to say we have had it on a few rides now, and it's done really well. So even if we're in a group ride or Adam's in front, it won't pick up the fellow riders, it picks up the cars, and from some distance away. So if you want us to do a further review on that, let me know, and I'll do a quick review. It's things like it connects to his Garmin, for example. It sends off a loud beep, so not only does he hear it, I hear it, and then it'll tell you exactly. So I don't know how many times you've done this, but you're like, oh, car, so you'll single up, and then you pull out because you think, oh, that's it, but there's actually 2 or 3 behind. The Garmin will light up on your screen on your Garmin, for when it picks a car. It tells you by colour how close it is and how fast it's approaching. So if it's red, it's like it's approaching quite quickly. Amber, it's obviously still a bit away, but it's a steady pace. In green, it's just coming. It also tells you if the car turns off. So the amount of times that I'd be like, oh, there's a car, sit in single file, then you realise for like 10 minutes that it's actually gone. So that's really good, and it also tells you the number of cars in line, so that you know there's either 2 or 3 behind that other car. So yeah, it's been really, really good. Thinking about getting one for myself as well, maybe. But yeah, so if you want us to do a review, put it on the comments, and I'll go into much more detail than just blobs and lights. But yeah, been loving that. And the last thing is number 5, listen to your doctor. So it is really hard at the beginning, especially because when, like, I don't know about anyone else, but I just find like, yeah, you're pregnant, and then you see no one until like your first scan, and then you might have a few initial midwife appointments, but you really are just on your own. So finding out, and I was googling, like trying to find videos on what to do, and like, because I just was paranoid, like I didn't want to take any risks that I shouldn't be taking. But yeah, always seek medical advice. If you're not getting the answers you're looking for, make an appointment with a doctor and go and speak to them. Don't be shy about it. I didn't, but I just did what I felt was right. And then when I saw my midwives at the start, I kind of told them like what I normally do, what should I be doing, and they said actually it's really good to keep healthy, to keep, if your body's used to it, then do it, but just go with how you're feeling. So if you're tired, don't take up any new sports. Like if you've never done weightlifting, it's not the time to take it up now. So just do what your body's used to, because it knows that. So yeah, that's a massive thing for me, just always seeking medical advice. I've done cycling a lot, and luckily I've managed to keep doing that, and I've managed to, like, still 5 months plus, I'm still managing pretty good miles and kind of similar speeds to what I'm used to. The only thing that I have been told is, like, obviously don't go mental. So there's none of these multi-day adventures that I love, or when we were on holiday in Mallorca, I would have loved to do all those massive climbs, but that would have just been too much with the heat and the climbing itself. Yeah, you've just got to be sensible, which is, as you know, I am not brilliant at. So having Adam along rides with me as well, he's quite good at just reminding me. He'll just, if I'm trying to get lost in the moment or chatting to a friend while we're riding, he'll just give me a wee shout and say oi, and I'll have to pare it back a bit. Even if I'm feeling good, it doesn't mean that afterwards you might feel really, really tired. Also, your body is changing, so it's making accommodations for bumps, so you're feeling the muscles are stretching a lot more. You do have a bump which might be uncomfortable, but I mean, these are changing bodies. At the same time it's amazing, but at the same time it's quite frustrating. Like if you love being out on the bike a lot and you just having a down day, or you just don't feel like you, it's okay to feel like that. Like in the end, you just kind of have to look at the bigger picture and say like, well, I'm growing a little human inside me, and it's going to be worth it. And this is not forever, it's for 9 months. So I just want a healthy baby, so I'm doing everything I can to accommodate that and keep myself safe. So if you are pregnant, congratulations. If you're watching this, if you're a guy who's watching this, well done, because it's nice just to think that if guys know what we're going through when we're cycling and how we're feeling. Like Adam's been great. He's been really kind of empathetic to the fact that I can not be grumpy, but I just, like, especially when we were in Mallorca, I was such a sulk because I was like, I just felt like we had wasted that holiday for us, even though I got out in loads and did lots of big like adventures. It wasn't what I would have gone there for. So yeah, he can just, sometimes just gives me a little hug, and especially if you're putting on your kit and you feel awful and you're just like, oh, everything's so tight, and so he's been helping with that and just kind of reminding me that you're 5 months pregnant. Like, there's a lot of people on the sofa doing nothing. So yeah, just always don't be too hard on yourself. Just enjoy what you like. If you want to, turbo trainers are always a great thing to kind of have as a fallback. So I think I'll be relying on that when I get further into maybe trimester 3. I've heard as well, if you rotate these round, so they're like more like bull bars, you're kind of sat upright, so you accommodate bump. So find things that work. If you just be comfortable, be safe, and always seek medical advice. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. I'd love to hear your comments, especially if you want one of these reviews, because I think it's great. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.